Do you ever see a comment online somewheres that was so obvious it made you stop and think, am I an idiot for not thinking of that first? So the other day I was reading along, I can't remember where it was, whether it was YouTube or Facebook or where it was, but somebody made it just an off the cuff comment that they milled their supports, or excuse me, cut their supports with a chainsaw to allow their log stops to pass by. And I thought, why the heck didn't I think of that myself? So I'll show you here exactly what I'm talking about. So if you look here underneath where the post is, this log stop, if I loosen up, can just about pass by. It hits a little bit. But this one here hits right on top, which means when I go to roll my log, I like to have my tall log stops up. But then once I go to make my cut, if my cut's going to be down here more, that means I have to take this one out, put the shorter one in. And it's kind of annoying, and it wastes a whole 8 seconds of my life I'll never get back. So I'm not going to go in there with a chainsaw because there's too much other stuff here to risk hitting, but I do have a set of chisels, so I'm going to see if I can chisel that out and make it so I don't have to change out the long and short log stops. Welcome back to the channel, folks. As you saw in the intro, I'm having a little issue with my log stops hitting the 4x4 frame that the sawmill is sitting on, so I hit it with the chisel, just a 1-inch wood chisel hammer, and a few minutes of work. As you can see now, just chisel through there, and now my log stops clear perfectly. And you can see the frame's not even all the way across, so you can see how much deeper I had to go with this one here. But it clears now, so now I don't have to constantly change out for the smaller, shorter log stops after I roll the log before I make my next cut. Well, continuing on the theme of things I've learned watching others online, I've always cut my cants, roll them 90, cut, roll 90, cut, until I get 4 square sides, and then mill my lumber from that. But I want to try rolling 180, rolling 90, and then start cutting from there, leaving bark on the bunk. And that way when I get down towards the end, I don't like cutting under about 2 inches because you risk hitting log stops and clamps and stuff like that. So I'm going to try doing one log the way I've been doing it, and then do another log 180, 90, and then finishing out the log without cutting the 4th side of bark off. So let's see how it goes. Well, I'm at the point now I got to drop my log stops, but I'm not sure how well it's going to work and still keep this log square where it is. So when I get these done after this cut, we'll measure the board and see if it's moved at all. So let's check and see if this rolled at all. On this side we're, what about, not quite 15 or 13/16. Let's see where we are here. Yeah, this is about maybe a 1/16 of an inch narrower. So because I'm sitting on the bark, there's nothing to keep the log from rolling when I move the log stop. So it obviously rolled a little bit. So we're not even thickness across the board now. So I ended up getting 7 1/8 out of that. Let me grab this camera. So as you see here on the back side, sitting up on that bark means it's not flat, so this log can roll. So that means I have to adjust these log stops carefully so the end of the log doesn't roll. And then if it does, you don't get an even cut across. I could probably get one more 1/8 out of this. It's kind of thin at that end, but as you can see, I'm dangerously close to my log clamp, and I don't want to move it down anymore because there's just bark. So I think that's all I'm going to get out of this log. So let me get another log up on here and we'll try the way I've been doing it and kind of compare the two. So I got another log up on the mill. Let me, I'll cut this one the way I've been doing it, rolling at 90, cleaning up all 4 sides before finishing it up. So now that I got 3 sides flat, I can put the short log stops in, put them all the way down, clamp up against the log stops, and I don't have to touch them again for the rest of the cuts. So I definitely like that over what I did in the previous clips. So I've got 8-inch wide. Let's see how many 1-bys I can get out of it.